If you're serious about becoming a wealthy, healthy, sophisticated, powerful, unique individual, keep a journal. Jim Rohn. Today we're going to be talking about journaling and creativity. So, journaling is the second step in the creative process. And I say journaling, but what I kind of really mean is just brain dump or throw spaghetti at the wall. But after visualizing, which is the first part, you have to get a very good image. And if you can't start working on your project immediately, I personally believe immediate intelligent action is very powerful. But journaling is really the second phase. And it doesn't have to necessarily be journaling. It can be drawing, videotaping, recording. But the main point is to brain dump. And it's just to get as much as you possibly can out of your head and into reality, into something that you can look at, something that you can really work with and recall and use, basically, like a list or a journal or a note. But this is really good for all businesses and business meetings and things like that, because you have to have the openness and willingness to freely throw your ideas at the page, get them out of your head with no judgment, no grammar checking, no editing. There's a time and a place to edit, but when you're in the beginning of a creative process, you truly need the freedom of just brain dumping, of using your mind freely and without judgment. So first you visualize, and then if it's something that you can draw, something that you can write about, you should start writing about it immediately. And then you should write about it as much as you can without any time constraints or creative constraints. Or sorry, not creative constraints, but just constraints in general, because you don't want to kink the hose, and you really want it to just let loose, and you want to get all these ideas that you have for your new creative adventure onto the page, onto your platform, I guess, and out of your head. So journaling is very powerful. Doodling, writing, beginning the process, but it's just important to start structuring your information in a somewhat organized, or at least doesn't have to be organized, it just has to get out of your head, and you have to start writing it down. So that is the second phase of creativity. So you got to visualize it, you got to hold the image in your mind, and then you have to manifest it in reality somehow. So that's why journaling is so important. That's why drawing it up, sketching, whatever it is that you do best, that you feel the freest doing, that represents whatever you've been holding in your mind and is a stepping stone in the beginning of your creative process of making that a reality. Okay, just some pro tips on journaling. Journaling is said to relieve anxiety and stress and put a perspective of knowing yourself out there. And many people journal first in the morning and then in the evening, and sometimes all day if you're a writer. I find journaling in the morning can be very helpful because my goals and my ideas, when I put them out and I write them down every day, it just stamps that in my mind and stamps it in my consciousness, like, this is what I'm doing right now, this is where I'm going, this is the actions I'm going to be taking today to get further along on my journey. I buy a lot of notebooks, and it seems to me that only the really nice ones tend to hang around. I mean, I fill up notebook after notebook after notebook, so I'm not saying the junk ones aren't important, because it's always good to have a pen and paper when you have ideas or when you're trying to spitball or come up with a creative process. But I buy sometimes these weird, like, Italian ones that are really cool. I actually have it right here. And stuff like this. This is just full of my information and my ideas. and that one's lasted the longest. I haven't lost it or thrown away or neglected it, and I write in it just about every day. And like I said, I've been writing in notebooks for years though, and I fill up junk ones, I fill up tiny ones, but I like that one. And you know, you get a real fancy pen and you have a nice notebook and you feel sophisticated or something, and it draws you to do it more often. And it's just like any other tools, you know, if you have the right tools, it tends to be funner to play with. But journaling or brain dumping, just getting all the information out on the page, out of your head, is just very important. And again, I like the idea of giving it a perspective of your own, you know, just like, so you have to have no judgment, which can be really hard for a lot of people. But you gotta practice just not fixing your errors, but just let the pen go, 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 go. If you're typing on a computer, don't stop for the grammar. Just get it all out and just let it go as long as it can. It said that Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky in 3 nights without sleeping, and he didn't want to stop to sleep because it would affect his motivation or inspiration. And I mean, that's probably not really how it happened, but it's a good story nonetheless, because when that inspiration strikes, you just have to get it all out, right. And then there's gonna be a time for editing and a time for fine tuning and a time for micromanaging and making sure that it's excellent. But when you're just in the beginning phases, you have to be free to express yourself and just get it all out and just keep it going and get the momentum, really. So even if you do have the inspiration and you do start working on your project right away, there's going to come a time where you have to stop, and then once you go to sleep and you wake up the next day or before you go to sleep, it's important that you journal. Journaling is a crucial key to really much of success. And I like Jim Rohn. He wrote down everything, and he now has libraries full of his notebooks and his ideas and his, you know, things, and he's a very successful man, and he gets to pass all those on to his children and his children's children. And man, if I had something like that for my grandparents, it would just be amazing, you know. All the success, all the ideas, the struggles they went through, you know, that sort of thing is very cool. It can be part of your legacy, which is why, another reason why journaling is just so incredible and so amazing. I write like chicken scratch, and only I can read it, but I write all the time, every day. And I enjoy it, and it's something that I think if you're really serious about success, you should be journaling and writing down. And again, when you're doing it in a creative fashion, you want no judgment, you want no restraints, you don't want to imagine somebody necessarily looking over your shoulder as you're doing it. You just want to get it out of your head and onto the page, and you want to make something start to come into reality, because again, you're willing it. Like, this is the creative process, okay? Something in your head, an image, a song, a formula, a recipe, it's in here, right? And you have to bring it into the real world, okay? So you have to get that string of information and you have to pull it and you have to will it into the real world. And when you first can visualize it completely, and then you can really start, you know, journaling and writing down all the details and the ideas that you have, it just gives it more backing, and the foundation of your creative process and your creativity needs that solid foundation in order to grow and to build. And that's why journaling is just, it's awesome. Even if you're not necessarily in a creative process, it's good to brain dump and start thinking about your life, and just again give yourself that perspective of who you really are and how you think, and to see that come to life in words on a page is very powerful. So journaling, stay creative, watch the next video. Thank you.